What's he like?
As a boxer, Charlie was the top contender, #2 in the world. Then the fight game changed.
So I'm John Rosengrant from Legacy Effects, and myself and my team, up to 70 people that worked on this, we built the practical animatronic robots, and there was three main characters that we built: Adam and Ambush, who's not here, the big blue robot that fights the bull, and then Noisy Boy, which were all of the robots that Hugh Jackman's character, has in the movie. And we also built 21 background robots. The idea was, to focus on the ones that Hugh Jackman and Dakota Max would interact with, to have practical representations of those.
This ain't a video game. This is for real. Let's make some money!
A bit of a magic there, when Dakota came on set for the first time and saw him moving around. It was a sense of wonder, and I think that's really captured in the performance. The design of the main robots was done by Tom Meyer as the production designer, and his team with Sean Levy's input into it. Someone asked before, about there's a bit of a face there. Sean was, very specific about how this was going to read. The idea was that this character had been punched in the face at one point, and it kind of ripped. Then it was sewn back, but it gave him a little bit of a placid human look to him. And there's times where it really, it reads through in just the simplest motions. He really comes to life. And there's a bond between Max and Adam that really is kind of heartfelt. That's the other side of this. There's all the great boxing, but there is a real heartfelt story. But as far as constructing these things, we took the sketches and the basic designs, and we sculpted them all digitally. There's over 250 parts in each one, plus 100-something machine parts that goes into all these. But they were all sculpted and had to be watertight so they could be rapid prototype. We either grew the parts or we milled and machined them out. And then each part, as they came back, we had to figure out how this was all going to go together. And in that design phase, the hydraulic system that's inside and all of the joints, all of that was laid out when we were building this in 3D. Now these work via RC. We don't have enough help here to do all of this today. All of the joints could be loosened up, so they were either reactive or could be puppeted, with rods. There's a really neat scene when, after he's been fished out of the junkyard, robot junkyard, is completely covered in mud. And you were covered in mud. And he's laying on the table, and we have all of the joints loosened up, and we have some rods and picks on him. But he sits up on the table and comes to life for the first time, and you see his eyes kind of fluttering and electronics sputtering back on. But it's kind of a magical moment, but it would have been a really hard one for Eric and his team, which did amazing work in this, but because it was all covered in mud and dust and dirt coming off of it, it adds an extra interesting element. And then later, Max hoses him off and cleans him all up, and so that's real mud and dirt that's rolling off of him. So we tried to figure out from the start how to help each other out, and the movie was very well planned out, which is unusual these days. But the producers, the whole team, everyone got together, and we figured out who would do what shot, how it would be accomplished, and it was, stuck to it and made those commitments, and I think it really shows in the final work. Each one's finish, the parts themselves, after they were rapid prototype, we had to treat them with their individual finishes. This one had to look like a fancy show car. This guy beat up from the junkyard, and Ambush, the blue one, he kind of looks like an old car that's been sitting out in the desert for a long period of time. But all of that was incorporated into the parts, then they were molded, and then they were cast out of lightweight urethanes and whatnot, which we kind of perfected over the years with the Iron Man movies and Terminator Salvation. You know, it's all very hollow and lightweight.
He didn't like that.
He's a ham too. But to keep the weight down, each one of the hydraulic hero ones were 250 pounds, which for a 7'6" character really isn't that heavy if you think about it. And the stunt ones, which were used for being bashed and thrown around and everything that you would put a stunt guy through, they weighed a little less, around 200 pounds. Like I said, there's 350 parts in each one. And we couldn't have really done this job years ago because we had only 4 months to actually manufacture these finished robots. We spent about 5 weeks prior to that designing them all out digitally. But if it wasn't for our digital pipeline that we use, even though we're doing practical things, we just couldn't have gotten this done. If we were sculpting all this old school by hand and then trying to figure out how this big ball would rotate inside of here and bend and move over, we just couldn't have done it. I mean, 10 years ago, it would have been impossible. So it was technical breakthroughs for us too in our pipeline of how we created these, and as Eric will explain, also in the digital world as well. It's like even in the sleeves alone, there's over 600. I think there's a total of 1,200 LEDs in there. These are all computer programmed to say different things. The Japanese characters. There's a scene when his arm goes skittering across the ring after he's been defeated, and it flashes the end.
You're gonna be punching guys bigger. You're gonna have to punch up. That's it. Nice. Whoa. You too, old man? Huh. Hey, come on. Let's get to work. Nice. Let's do that again. Nice. 3-punch combo. Combo. Again. Again. Faster. Faster. Nice. You're not even out of breath. I like it. Okay, see how you move. That's good.